What is going on, guys and girls? Level Up here at OnPointGaming's OnPointTactical, and this time we're looking at the A91 carbine available to all classes in Battlefield 4. If you think back to Battlefield 3, you will remember that the A91 really wasn't that good of a carbine. Its recoil was a little uncontrollable, and but it was really good at hipfire accuracy. This is no exception in Battlefield 4. It is exactly the same, but with the addition of the barrel attachments and the different types of foregrips, we can actually equip the A91 to be a pretty darn effective carbine. I was running the stubby grip, the muzzle brake, the Cobra red dot sight, and the laser sight for almost the entire video. Right here I'm not using the muzzle brake because I wasn't really prepared for that accuracy penalty, and I was using the ergo grip for hipfire, but I have sort of graduated past that in some of the later gameplay. And I think that overall is the best attachment setup to run, is the Cobra red dot sight, the laser sight, the muzzle brake, and the stubby vertical grip. Now, I did mention in my sight guide that hasn't actually been uploaded yet that the Coyote red dot sight was more or less the best red dot sight, but overall I think that with high recoil weapons, having that T reticle of the Cobra sight is really helpful for finding your horizon and staying on target. And if we go to Synthic.com, we will see a pretty darn interesting stats page for the A91. It does a standard carbine damage model, doing 25 damage through 8 meters, and then at 50 meters it drops off to 15.4 damage. The fire rate is 800 rounds a minute with a muzzle velocity of 420 meters a second, which is kind of slow. Standard at ammo capacity. The bullet drop is standard at 15 meters per every second that the bullet is in the air. The reload times are 2.7 seconds on a short reload and 3.3 seconds on a long reload. This is a pretty long reload time. It's not as long as some weapons, the FAMAS primarily, but it is pretty long. But I gotta say that eventually you just get kind of used to it and more or less wind up creating your own tactics for the weapon, because if you don't, then you're pretty much just hosed, and there's not a whole lot you can do beyond that. The recoil pattern is 0.34 up, which is pretty standard in Battlefield 4, but has a recoil of 0.5 on either side, has a recoil decrease per second of 18, and a first shot recoil multiplier of 2.0. I don't think that you're going to want to run the angled grip though, because the way that you would have to do that is to have a standard barrel and the angled foregrip. Now, if you run the stubby grip, you can make up for the accuracy loss and run the muzzle brake or the compensator to help with that recoil. The reason that you do not want to run anything but the stubby grip if you're going to use a muzzle brake or compensator is the ADS accuracy is 0.375, making it one of the least accurate rifles in the game. The hipfire accuracy, however, is 1.5. So it is really, really accurate firing from the hip, and whenever you put a laser sight on there, you pretty much are just ready to hipfire people. Pretty much inside of a 15-meter radius, you can actually complete hipfire kills pretty darn easily. That is one advantage that this carbine has that a lot of weapons don't get to take advantage of, is amazing hipfire accuracy. But hipfire accuracy is not a cure for everything. And that is the area that the A91 falls short. Hipfire accuracy is definitely very helpful, but it does not cure everything, and overall I don't think is enough to increase the effectiveness of any gun. Now, there are some areas that you can take advantage of it. One area for sure is maps like Zavad 311, where you have sort of these random sporadic levels of cover, and being able to kind of snap fire from the hip is really darn helpful. So you do have to know your maps. Maps that have a lot of cover or crates or just really spotty cover, you're going to really take advantage of a laser sight or green laser, you know, whatever laser sight it is that you're running. You're going to be able to take very large advantage of these hipfire advantages on certain classes, and you can definitely increase your overall functionality on the battlefield having a good hipfire gun on these particular maps. But a lot of maps don't have this sort of randomness inside of them. In fact, that's one reason that a lot of people don't like Zavad 311, is complete randomness of its cover, but that is definitely a good time to have a good hipfire weapon, because other people that don't have good hipfire weapons are either going to A, hipfire and miss a lot more than you, or B, have to take a second and aim in on you. That is why having snapfire, hipfire accuracy, basically, is just really, really, really helpful on certain maps like Zavad 311. I'm going to go ahead and apologize for how different my voice sounds in this particular audio clip. I switched microphones up because I didn't really like how the first one was starting to sound. So, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for that. But there are advantages to using this weapon, and there are disadvantages. The one primary advantage, obviously, is hipfire, but not a lot of people see this gun put into action. Now, it's not a bad gun by any means, but it's not really a great gun either. It's definitely better than the G36 and the AUG A3. Those weapons are just kind of garbagey, and I really would rather not have to use them in my lifetime. But, you know what, I'm sure that at some point I'm going to wind up having to do a review for the AUG, and in due time that will be necessary, but we will go ahead and deal with that then, and worry about this now. Also, with the A91, have a sidearm that you trust for medium distance engagements. The M1911 is a perfect sidearm to run for this sort of situation, but you do want to have a sidearm that complements your primary well. This obviously is a close and medium range gun, so having a pistol that can sort of reach out and touch somebody is nice. If I had the 44 Magnum, I might use it. The 412 Rex would be a decent pistol to use with the A91, but I find that the M1911 just sort of offers a balance between long-range and close-quarter capabilities with ammo capacity. Just kind of has this really nice balance that not a lot of pistols share. The Compact 45 might share a sort of similar relationship with balancing, but we'll just have to see how that plays out whenever I get around to it. Also, would you like to see pistol reviews? I might have to get around to it, but anyway, so definitely use the gun. It's not a perfect gun. Hipfire accuracy is not a cure for everything, but it definitely is nice on certain maps. So try it out on Zavad 311, and I'm sure that you'll probably find that this gun is pretty darn fun to use. Keep in mind to have a good sidearm with you the entire time, or else you're probably going to suffer the consequences of having a not so great sidearm, which, to be honest, not a lot of them are good at all. So I'm LevelUp here at OnPointGaming's OnPointTactical. I am almost out of room in my Medic Monday video, so one or two more questions, and that will pretty much fill up the episode. So go ahead and put those down below real quick like. So, as always, thanks for watching. I already said that. Sorry about it. Take it easy, guys. Oh my gosh.